10 expensive things people threw away as trash. Most people don't think twice while throwing things in the garbage, and sometimes end up regretting it. Of course, the opposite of what they do. I think about it 20 times. And you too, after watching this video, will not throw anything in the garbage.
Wait a minute!
Okay. They have a saying that one man's trash is another man's treasure, and it is a suitable one for the cases below. From a British man who accidentally threw a hard drive containing 7,500 bitcoins, to a $1 million painting was accidentally spotted by a girl in the trash. Here are 10 expensive things people threw away as trash. Note: I felt oppressed and saddened when making this video. 1. A first edition Harry Potter novel worth thousands of dollars, thrown away unread. The first edition of Harry Potter books is the holy grail for Potter fans. There are only 300 to 500 first edition Harry Potter books in existence today, with an approximate value of $50,000 each. Nigel Reynolds is a lucky guy who got to interview J.K. Rowling's before her book became a whopping hit. He received a first edition copy of The Philosopher's Stone for free as a thank you gift, and what did he do? He straightforwardly threw it in the bin. The most frustrating part was he didn't even read it, and the book, which was worth thousands of dollars, simply went in the trash unread. He said that he believed the book wasn't worth reading and binned it. In less than a year, Rowling's book became a huge success. And the irony is Reynolds was standing in line to purchase a subsequent edition of Harry Potter, signed by Rowling for his son. 2. James Howells, a British man who threw $280 million worth of bitcoins in the trash. James Howells will probably go down in history as the unluckiest man on earth. Today, a single bitcoin is worth thousands of dollars, but it wasn't worth anywhere near as much a few years back. In 2013, James Howells, an IT engineer from Newport, Wales, threw his hard drive, which contained 7,500 bitcoins, in the trash while cleaning his office. Bitcoins were not a priority back in 2009, but today that amount would be worth more than $280 million. Later, when he was casually browsing the web, he found out that bitcoins had surprisingly increased in value. He started digging in his local dump in the hopes of finding his hard drive, which contained the security key to access his bitcoins. He had a whole consortium of experts who were looking for his hard drive, but so far, the Newport City Council has refused to permit him to search the landfill. Mr. Howell even offered to donate a quarter of his fortune to the city, but so far that offer was to no avail. Either way, Howell's fortune is still under the piles of garbage somewhere in Newport City dump, and he is still digging in the garbage in the hope of finding it someday. 3. A violin made by Giuseppe Pedrozzini, worth $50,000 was thrown away, in the trash. An American man accidentally found a violin made by the most famous Italian violin maker Giuseppe Pedrozzini. While randomly wandering around wishing to buy a violin as a gift for his wife, he found a violin in a garbage dump. Because he loves his wife, he chose a gift for her from the garbage. He picked up the violin and took it to the Antique Roadshow to see if it was worth cashing in for a new one. Fortunately, he found that the violin was crafted by the famous violin maker Giuseppe Pedrozzini, in 1922. Pedrozzini was raised in Italy, and studied violin making in Milan School. The violin found in the garbage was one of his finest works. The appraiser said that if the violin gets cleaned up and restored to a good condition, it would be worth over $50,000. No one knows who threw such a piece of art in the garbage. 4. The first edition Apple computer worth $200,000 was thrown away by a Californian woman. A vintage Apple I computer is the only one of the few 200 first-generation desktop computers built by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ron Wayne in 1976. Unaware of the worth of the computer, a mysterious Californian lady threw an old Apple computer in the garbage while cleaning her garage. She dropped off 2 boxes of electronics at the Clean Bay Area Recycling Center in April. The recycling center, after identifying the worth of the computer, swiftly sold the rare computer for $200,000. Now the recycling center is trying to locate the mystery woman to give her a 50% cut out of the profits, as per their policy. 5. Ancient Mayan artifacts, dated back from 300 BCE to 500 CE, found by rubbish remover in New York. One man's trash is another man's treasure. This saying was proved right when an artist who collected trash from houses found some ancient Mayan artifacts, worth $16,500. Nick DeMola, a 39-year-old man, had been working for the past 5 years in Queens, New York as a rubbish remover. He was hired to clean out an artist's Prince Street apartment for $4,500. While cleaning the studio and basement storage, DeMola mistakenly scuffed a cardboard barrel. Later, when he opened it, he found dozens of ancient Mexican artifacts. There were jugs, a mix of bowls, figurines, and stone axes, that dated back from 300 BCE to 500 CE. DeMola said that he wasn't surprised after finding out the artifacts. He said there's always something in the garbage worth money. However, even after knowing the truth, the real owners didn't have any right to the artifacts, and DeMola was free to sell the artifacts on his own. 6. Confidential blueprints of the soon-to-be-built Freedom Tower, found in a garbage dump in New York City. Let's take you back to the one fine day in 2008, when the secure and confidential documents of the Freedom Tower were found by a homeless man in New York City, stashed in a bin. They were the 2 sets of confidential 150-page blueprints of the soon-to-be-built Freedom Tower. The Freedom Tower was set to be constructed in Lower Manhattan at Ground Zero, and the papers were dumped in the city garbage of West Houston and Sullivan Streets. The papers had floor-to-floor schematics, the thickness of the concrete wall, location of electrical systems and elevators, all of which were a treasure trove for a potential terrorist to plan a full-fledged attack. The papers didn't have a specific monetary value, but the people who would be willing to bid on them are terrifying and intriguing. Fortunately, the papers didn't fall into the wrong hands, and the homeless man who found them returned them to the concerned authorities. 7. The nuclear weapon material from World War II, found in a garbage dump. A special kind of plutonium is used in the making of atomic bombs. While cleaning up the Hanford site, a huge Department of Energy cleanup site in southeastern Washington state, workers came across an old safe buried in a pit. When they opened it, there was a bottle that turned out to be an abandoned piece of plutonium-239. Plutonium-239 is a specific type of substance used in the Manhattan Project during World War II. Plutonium is radioactive and can cause lung cancer in a human who breathes it in. However, the amount of plutonium found was not enough to develop a nuclear weapon, but was also not small enough to be trusted in the hands of any bomb makers. 8. A painting worth $1 million by artist Rufino Tamayo, found in the trash after being lost for 20 years. Garbage is the least expected place to find a $1 million painting. In 2003, Elizabeth Gibson was casually on her way to get coffee, when she spotted a large 38 by 51-inch colorful canvas snuggled between 2 garbage bags. The painting was thrown in the garbage, like it was worth nothing, on 72nd Street in Manhattan, New York. Gibson felt attracted to the painting even though her apartment was not big enough to place such a large painting. She picked up the canvas and took it to her apartment. While watching an episode of the Antiques Roadshow, she heard a description of the painting. The painting turned out to be the most famous artwork by the celebrated 20th-century Mexican artist, Rufino Tamayo. It was 3 people, a 1970 masterpiece that was stolen 20 years ago. The painting was a depiction of a man, a woman, and an androgynous figure with a mix of yellow, purple, and orange shade. The canvas had a whopping value of $1 million. 9. Employees accidentally trashed $5 million worth of diamonds. What do you do when you find a trove full of diamonds? Most of us would try to sell them.
Nice.
So did the security guard who was caught attempting to sell $5 million worth of diamonds on the black market. In 2015, employees of the J. Bernbach jewelry store in Manhattan, New York accidentally threw out a trove of precious diamonds that were worth over $5 million. When the company was on a move to a new floor, the employees accidentally threw out the diamonds, which were in battered boxes. While on a trash drive, a security guard, Wilfred Martinez, unearthed the gems. The 3 wooden boxes were dumped on a pile of rubbish when Martinez found them. He sold them for $74,000 in the same building where he found them. Upon checking the surveillance footage, the police arrested the 48-year-old security guard and charged him with criminal possession of the stolen property. 10. Platinum, one of the most precious metals, dumped into the bottom of the ocean hundreds of years ago. Platinum is one of the most expensive and rarest metals on Earth. Today, platinum jewelry may cost you a fortune, as a single ounce of platinum sells for about $1,400. It is worth around 3 times as much gold jewelry, and 42 times as much silver jewelry. Back in the 16th century, when the Spanish were first introduced to platinum in South America, they thought it to be undiscovered gold. The platinum was similar in density and was tough to melt. Platinum soon became a bonanza for counterfeiters. They used platinum primarily to create counterfeit gold coins that are immensely hard to tell apart from real gold coins. Shortly after its discovery and use in forgeries, Spain began to face economic crises, and the Spanish currency needed urgent restoration. To combat this increasing problem, the Spanish came up with the solution to dump the platinum of the entire country into the sea. Following the royal decree of 1735, all the platinum confiscated from counterfeiters was thrown into the sea. Little did the Spanish know, just 100 years or so later, that platinum will itself become the rarest and one of the most expensive metals on Earth. However, it was too late for the vast wealth that was lost at the bottom of the ocean. I'm thinking of going to the Newport City landfill to look for James Howell's hard drive. Maybe I'll find him and I'll become rich. Write me in the comments the most valuable garbage for you. Well, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and press the like button.